welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Why, hello. Yes, I am.
What are we getting into this week, Trev?
We are getting into some rather smooth jazz. I mean, no, we're gonna get into some click pitch this week, like we do every week, pretty much, except for those couple of weeks where it wasn't working. So, click pitch is a game where we each have a adjective and a noun. And on the count of 3 to 1 click, we're going to get new words and we're going to throw them at each other. And we use this rather awesome Discord bot that I created and used like some internet forms to get the words, and they get delivered to us. And then if I really want to, I can look in the back end and see what Ben got.
You set those pipes up directly into our Discord and we can get our words. So, yeah, we're going to turn those into some game designs. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1 click. Varied insect.
Consuming maize. M-A-Z-E.
Oh, okay, not M-A-I-Z-E.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what other maize is there?
It's not corn. But it could be a corn maze, and it could be that you've got to get out of the maze before the insects all consume the maize, and that's kind of... maze. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, the plague is coming, you've got to get out of the maze before, like, the human-eating insects come in and, like, wipe you out.
Okay. I do kind of like the idea of, like, an impending insect apocalypse that you can see on the horizon as this huge swarm of locusts or mutated locusts or whatever they are that's coming for you. And yeah, sort of a cornfield, corn maze situation.
Yep. And depending on the difficulty level, and the difficulty level is all about, at the easy level, you're a single guy. A little bit harder, you're a young couple. A little bit harder, you're like a married couple with children. And then incredibly hard is like the elderly couple who each have like a cane and stuff, and they can't move very fast. And the whole idea is that it's a randomized run, and every single time you're sort of getting out, but just getting out of the maze is only one part of it. You got to then get home. So jumping in the car and or get to safety.
So this is some sort of roguelike where you've got a randomized maze.
Yes.
And then you have like a big dash off down the highway ahead of the wave of insects to get home. Like that's sort of your big finish of every run.
Yeah, and it's sort of like if you remember in like Left 4 Dead and that sort of stuff, you always had that big rush of zombies. In this, every time that you get out of the maze, that's when the swarm sort of is going to hit the worst. If you didn't die while you were in the maze.
Is this then a Left 4 Dead style co-op-ish experience, perhaps?
It could be a Left 4 Dead-y sort of experience, but it's more... Well, it could be a multiplayer experience. I'm thinking more a reverse... what's it called? Fortnite or reverse PUBG, and we haven't done one of these in a long time, so everyone starts inside the maze, and then it's you got to get out and, you know, take the cars and get away, but there's only so many cars, so so it's more of the get the fuck out of the maze and it's this battle escape. Royale and be the one to be able to survive. And yes, if you come across other people, do you have to like choose whether to help them or like kill them, or would it just be kill anyone you see because they're they might get a car before you do? Well, were you lucky enough to be one of the people who spawned with car keys, and then were you lucky enough to stay away from people, so that they didn't hit you and knock your car keys out of your pockets? Because in this game, basically, if you get punched, your car keys are going to go flying.
Car keys and shoes.
Yep.
And you don't want to have no shoes in a corn maze. How do we make the maze part more interesting? Because I feel like
landmines.
That's your answer to everything, Trevor. It's like, how do we make this fucking kids game more interesting. Landmines. That you've said that so many times. Like every episode,
sorry.
I feel like you bring up landmines.
I'm sorry. I've had to cut out so many references to landmines, just like all your puns.
Yeah, it's just... Anyway, fine, landmines.
This is the first time that people would have heard about landmines, because I don't think I can be bothered cutting it out this week, even though it's your edit.
Trevor's just... You didn't see it, but he just, like, waved $5 up on the screen. He's going to pay me to leave that landmines reference in, so I guess you'll probably hear it.
I'll Venmo
Are there
you.
ways, then... That's not even a thing here. Are there ways...
International listeners, you'll get it. It's a joke.
Are there ways that you can, like, cut through the maze? Or,
Yeah, there's a tractor
like,
right in the middle of the maze,
guide-
and it's like, it's a
Okay.
combine harvester, and you can just, like... You can take out a lot of people with that, and maybe get some keys.
And presumably, you know, get through a large chunk of the maze without having to actually, like...
Exactly.
You know, find the dead ends and... Well, yeah, I was kind of wondering if there are those sort of aspects where it's like, oh, you found, you know, a set of hedge clippers. You can, like, take out one section of the maze or, like, 5 blocks of the maze or something at different points to sort of maybe get a shortcut through. But, of course, if someone else sees you, like, they'll be able to follow you through or whatever. Or maybe you can, like, just fucking find some matches and burn down a section of the maze, but it also, you know...
You're putting yourself in danger. It's a risk
yourself
reward.
in danger. Yeah.
Are you going to find the wealth at the center of the maze that is right next to the tractor, or are you going to find the exit, which is, you know, on the opposite side of the field?
Yeah.
And, you know, realize, oh crap, the exit's on the other side of the field, and there's no way to get there because of all the barbed wire and landmine field.
Yeah. Well, there's a sign that says landmines. You haven't actually seen anyone get hit. Like hit a landmine.
Do you really
but
want to take that
you,
chance?
Are you going to risk it? That's the thing.
And the fact that I don't know who suggested it, was in one of the meetings, actually having like a peripheral that, you know, hooks up to your nads, and if a landmine goes off, 20,000 volts straight into your nads.
Yeah, but we fired Jeff after that.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. We're not doing
fuck
that.
him.
That was, I think he had a fetish. And that's
I mean,
fine for him, but we're
Yeah.
not going to force that onto our players. The insects, is that just the sort of the ongoing kind of threat, or are you fighting off insects after a while? Are you having to like find a flamethrower and like take out swarms of insects, but you know you might set the maze on fire?
I like the idea that in the middle of the swarm are these bigger, like, more fucked up insects.
Yeah.
Kind of like Deep Rock Galactic, where you get those big, like, I think it was Mactra plagues or whatever, that sort of come in and, like, some of them can grab you and take you away and all this sort of stuff. I like the idea of it. This is an alien insect swarm. Like,
Yeah.
basically aliens have taken control of the insects of the world, and so the majority of the insects are kind of okay. You hope that you don't get caught up in a wasp storm, because that's extremely deadly. But if it's just a mosquito swarm, then yeah, you're going to be itchy as all hell. The character's not
But
going
you
to be
might get
moving so
away.
fast, but you might get away. But it's basically, you know, you don't know the type of swarm that you're going to get
Yeah.
until you actually go into the game.
Well, it could be to your benefit to be picked up by, you know, a swarm of bees who think you're pollen or whatever, and you might get dropped, you know, or if someone else then helps you and takes out that swarm, you might get dropped closer to the exit. You know, you might skip a whole section of the maze.
You very well might.
Yep. Well, despite our loss of Jeff, and you know, that was a big loss to the company, I think we'll be okay. We'll put this game out and it'll be a hit. All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
Molecular concentrate.
Damn leg. That's my words. Damn leg.
Damn
Not
leg.
like DAMN leg. Okay, molecular concentrate is cool though. Like some sort of
Jizz puddle.
I'm glad it's my edit because otherwise this episode might end up being called Jizz Puddle, and I just wouldn't stand for it.
It's the first thing that came into my mind.
Jesus Christ. I was literally about to... funnily enough, I was literally about to say grey goo. But talking about, you know, the idea of nanites as a, you know, a goo of you know, billions of nanites. I mean, we could... It could be that you jizz out nanites.
You're a robot that has a bung leg, and he jizzes out nanites and takes over.
Well, I was more thinking like it's sort of a cyberpunk kind of world, or like a future world where, due to experiments gone wrong, there are people who are essentially healers because they have these nanites in their bodies, but there's only one way that they can expel them onto other people.
They're healers and they heal by fucking.
Not even that. Unless you've got some sort of, I mean, internal problem. Like, I'm literally thinking it's like, hey, my leg's all fucked up. Can you help me? And they're like, yeah.
Oh, fuck
Talk dirty for a few... Oh, fuck it. A leg? Yeah, I'll fuck a leg.
Yeah, just let me make the hole a little bit deeper.
Oh, gross. No. That's getting too visceral. I don't actually want to think about how... It's more the conceptual fucking of the leg. Oh my god, how can we keep this in the episode? I don't know. This is horrible. I'm so sorry, listeners.
This is as crazy as I've gone in a long time.
I'm not sure we're coming back from that one. So I think that's
okay. Let's try it for like a little bit.
Alright, can we move away from the jizz play?
Yes.
Alright.
Molecular concentrate.
So I mean, I think that still feels
no.
like
What are your words?
Oh, damn leg.
Damn leg. Okay, damn leg and molecular concentrate. So,
I mean, I still think.
I'm picturing, you know, like the primordial ooze.
Okay.
So that's the molecular concentrate.
Yeah, this is like the very beginning of life.
On a
Earth,
new planet.
A new planet.
And someone from Earth ends up there and sort of bangs their knee, and a little bit of blood goes into the molecular concentrate. It's like, damn leg.
They just like stub their toe and or like scrape their knee.
It starts bubbling.
That's the catalyst.
It's the catalyst. Yeah.
An accelerated evolution of life on this planet. It's kind of like the movie Evolution, where like things start evolving really quickly, but the catalyst was human blood.
Yes. Okay,
so is this a like explorer, like an astronaut out there, you know, pioneering on a new planet?
Yeah, I'm just
is this
wondering.
A future where humans are already out in space and they just like happen? They're just like checking out this planet on a joyride. Like, how far down the technological scale are we going?
I like the idea of kind of combining like a Mass Effect-y sort of RPG. You've got a whole crew on the ship, and you know, you're away party. It's this. The game sort of starts as you land down on this, or you've got this group of people walking through this like desolated sort of place. There's not much going on. And then they come across like a puddle, you know. Well, I say puddle, it's probably more of a lake sort of thing. And, you know, the commander goes a little bit closer and then, you know, trips and cuts his knee and like, oh, God damn it. And a little bit of blood just goes in and the whole lake just starts bubbling.
Starts to bubble. All right, okay, I like the setup. So I'm picturing less... I'm picturing veering more towards a Star Trek-y type of feel than like Mass Effect is sort of space opera-ish, I guess. But I do like this. You're just a member of the crew, so you can like customize yourself, full RPG-ish sort of thing. You know, maybe steal BioWare's thing of, you know, everyone has the same last name, so that everyone can just refer to you as, you know, Ensign Jaffers.
Just as good as I was just looking for what else works with a shepherd. Sheep.
It's canon now. You play this game, you're Ensign Jaffers. If you're lucky, if you choose the right ending, you'll get up to Admiral Jaffers by the end. But
I want to see
a long period.
I want to see what Admiral Jaffers is getting up to in the next game. Like,
well, that's it. All right, that might be in the sequel. But at this point, you're Ensign Jaffers, and you're down on the away team.
How does that work if you go really, really bad? Do you go faster up the admiral charts, or
fail upwards?
Fail upwards, yeah.
I mean, we have to figure out how corrupt our, you know, military.
Or does it depend if you're white?
Well, at least human in this world, yeah. Like if you've chosen an alien,
I reckon there's still
alien character. I mean, there's probably still like within the species racism as well. But.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's humans, like.
Well, or is this all human? Is this a world where there's no other alien contact at this point? Perhaps we have explored, like we've explored a ton of solar systems. We haven't found any other alien life, but we are living on a lot of space stations. Like there is a space, you know, we have colonies in different solar systems on different worlds. Some of them are, you know, quite heavily populated and you know, advanced now. And
do you think? Okay, yeah, keep going.
Just you are on a team that's, again, where, you know, as humans need to do, expand, consume resources. So we're continuing to expand and explore, and we've come to this planet, and this is the first time any human has been on this planet.
Yes. Okay. Do you think that in this universe, like, humans are just known throughout the universe as being so horrible that the aliens specifically, like, stay away, and they sort of, you know, they're kind of like, they think that we don't exist. And, you know, it's just like humans are just the biggest joke over the entire
yes,
universe.
Definitely. I think, though, this catalyze essentially. Okay, so here's what I was thinking. You catalyze this reaction of accelerated evolution, and this species starts overtaking the galaxy, essentially. Like,
okay.
It is growing so fast. It's like a force of nature. It is a scourge, and again, similar to our like insect swarm in the previous one. It's just they're not super intelligent. It's kind of like Stargate, the little nano thing. Do you remember in the series?
Oh, yep. The later series,
later series of Stargate, they had the sort of robotic nanite things that they like could all link together and stuff.
Another game with nanites. I mean, you had to bring it back there, didn't you?
I mean, yeah. As long as we don't say jizz, probably. Oh, fuck. No, but I don't think they're nanites. I think I was just making the comparison. They're biological, but they're not super intelligent. They're more like ants, right? They are like insects again, or something like ants, where they will really cooperate to build things, and they build huge structures, and they manage to like literally structures that can then take them into space somehow. Like they are like a biological version of being able to travel through space. But because of this, now aliens have to make contact with humans. Like this kicks off.
Oh. It's kind of like a biological landmine in that it
fucking landmines, Trevor. Landmines. How have we done 232 episodes when every game is landmines? I don't know how we managed to edit around it. Oh my god! I'm just leaving it in this episode. Fuck it. We'll see where we come. Fucking landmine storm, and we'll see.
That was what I originally asked for this thing to be called, and then you said no. God. So we went with the other one first, and then we went with Bitstorm, because you still didn't like Landmine Storm.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So many games. What was the last game you played that even had a landmine in it?
Call of Duty.
All right. Anyway, so I like that idea. Then, yeah, like essentially, you as humans, as the fucking bumbling human race that the aliens have been. There's like a cordoned off area, like fucking 200 light years around Earth, and you know you've explored a fraction of it and you think humans think they're king shit because of that. They're like, oh, I guess we're the only ones who made it outside of their home solar system. Aren't we good? And then they trip over and create a biological weapon that's threatening to destroy everyone. And the aliens are just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then they have to come in and intervene.
Yeah, and they have to come in and basically try and help save, like, the universe, because they thought, you know, this is a nice little puzzle they can sort of solve.
Well, no, I think it's actually a threat to them, but they have to work with the humans because, like, these things are part human, because they essentially, like, are using that human DNA to build off of, and so they have to work with they either have to enslave the humans so that they can get access to their DNA and do tests, like come up with some sort of, you know, way to shut this biological weapon down, essentially, or they have to be diplomatic and work with them. And you find out, like, halfway through the game that in the council of all the fucking aliens of this galaxy, like, they were split. Like, they were ready to just fucking matrix the whole human race, essentially, to farm DNA so that they can fight this thing. But they decided to go the diplomatic route.
Or did they matrix them? The thing that we created was like a computer virus that took down the entire matrix, and that's why they're now coming to us. That basically
that's one of the endings. You find that out in one of the endings that's actually what it is. But and it's only canon if you reach that ending. Otherwise, it's just regular life.
It's one of those joke endings of, you know, oh my god, it was Matrix all along. Just kidding.
Yeah, it's Matrix all the way down.
I think we salvaged that.
Yes, I think we did. I think that'd be really cool. A big sprawling RPG there, and but yes, in the Mass Effect sort of style, but it with that twist of like, no, actually, like humans are thought of as the dunces of the universe or the galaxy, meeting aliens for the first time.
I mean, they never. The biggest joke was that the aliens were like, "Oh God, you never made it past the speed limit of C." Like,
yeah, you still like you taking huge colony ships that take, you know, decades to reach new solar systems and things.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh God, you guys, you don't understand anything." It's like,
so slow. You didn't even leave your solar system until like 2351. You nearly got there, and then you fucking invented cryptocurrency and nearly destroyed your climate, and it set you back centuries.
It was like a landmine to your knowledge.
3, 2, 1, click.
Satellite accusation. J'accuse.
Wondering celebration.
Ooh. Okay, so the moon is also known as a satellite. And I'm picturing that every night it sort of goes past and it just points at someone and just accuses them of like doing wrong things.
That's actually kind of a fun, weird, absurd thing. That every night as the moon goes past, it's pointing at someone.
At one person.
At one person. And the rest of the world, or the rest of the hemisphere...
It's just in the eyes to its eyes and eyes to...
It's like, I'm watching you, don't fucking do anything. But that just started happening. Essentially, the the person in the moon, we all know is, up there. Yeah, the moon just started shifting one night, and a face appeared, and hands appeared on it, and it just started going, watching you, and nobody quite knew what was up about it. They're like, what, us? Like, humans? Until scientists were watching it, they were, like, tracking the minute changes in where the moon was pointing across the night, and realizing, no, wait, this must be tracking a singular point on the surface of the Earth. And eventually, created the technology to measure it and discover at any point, all right, where's the moon pointing tonight? Oh, 53 Eastfield Street. It's fucking Jimmy. It's Jimmy Barnes. The singer. Tonight, anyway.
But then one night, Gerald Tyler, he's just walking around and the moon points at him. Yep. And he goes, I haven't done anything wrong. Like, he knows that it's him. Like, he just gets this feeling, like, the hairs prick up on the back of his neck. But then the next night comes along and the moon's pointing at him again. And it's now locked into him. And
it's every night. This is the only time this has happened. So all other nights, like, the moon comes up, points to someone, and do they do something then? Like, is it that they were going to do something and the moon knew about it, or they definitely, like, they do something and it's pointing to where, like...
I think depending on whether the moon is smiling or not, depends on whether the moon is like, hey, man, you keep being you.
Yeah, sometimes it's just... Sometimes it's just the moon affirming.
It's just a spotlight on... It's sort of like... on Twitch, sometimes they spotlight certain streamers. It's like, he's spotlighting and going, this person is awesome. But ever since Gerald Tyler came into being, like... Or it came into the spotlight, like...
What's the moon's expression, though? Well, when it's pointing at Gerald Tyler...
Ambivalent.
Is it ambivalent?
Like,
it's just... It's just a bit of a...
Just shrugging. Like, it's just sort of shrugging and pointing. It's the weirdest thing. Like, no one's ever...
The moon just does not get Gerald Tyler and cannot get Gerald Tyler out of its mind.
Yeah, because he's so boring. And then you start playing the game. And you've got
As Gerald?
As Gerald.
So, okay... I fucking love the idea of you're just wandering around in a world, in this game world, and at any point you can look up at the sky and the moon's just like pointing at you.
You look and he starts doing the the eyes.
Well, I'm just wondering then, is it your actions then? Your actions as you play, the moon's face might change expression depending on
the thumbs up,
the direction you're heading.
Oh. Yes, I think the moon is actually... He's always been looking for you and looking for the person that he can sort of connect with. And so scientists have wandered for many years. Every night people sort of...
Well, yeah, maybe it's like... The moon's pointing at someone, but, like, it's obviously hard to tell who the moon's pointing at. The scientists can figure it out, but it takes them a few hours to pinpoint it.
And by that time, like, that person's asleep, and, like...
That something's happened, or they've done the thing they were going to do or not going to do, or whatever the moon was trying to communicate, because they never believe, even if it kind of looks like the moon's pointing at them, it's like, whatever, it's probably pointing at the neighbour. Gerald's the first person when the moon's pointing to them, and they've gone, fuck, the moon's pointing at me. And so when Gerald looks back and waves, like, the moon waves back. And there's a whole communication going on at that point.
And then it's like this stealthy sort of thing where the moon can sort of hide behind clouds and then come out again to give you light when it needs to.
Yeah, you're trying to sneak in somewhere and you're just, like, playing charades with the moon to try to tell it to get behind a fucking cloud because you're making too much light. Like, come on, dude.
I'm picturing, like, a fully cratered, like, fucked up moon. Kind of like, a low poly sort of moon with lots of craters and all that sort of stuff. But it's got like
but
this...
very expressive. It's got to be very expressive. And it's got arms and hands.
Yeah.
Because it just grew them when this happened for the first time. What happens when the moon... Is it only when the moon's, like, full or close to full? Or is it just annoying to the moon when it's, like, crescent and you just see, like...
One arm.
One arm and, like half an eye.
And occasionally you see the other arm just sort of come into view and he's sort of like...
It's like trying to get your attention. It's like, fuck, it's not enough sunlight. No one can see me. But I think this definitely takes place close to the new moon, the full moon.
During a full moon, pretty much. Like the 3 days, of the full moon.
Yeah, so I like that this takes place across those 3 days. And is this just like a very personal story then for Gerald? Like,
yeah, I think
he's trying to like connect with, make a friend, or like get into a relationship, or reconnect to someone he's estranged with. But the moon's fucking helping him.
and then it turns out, like, he gets to the end and he realizes, hang on, I think this has happened to us before, and he remembers back to when the man on the moon, who was his father, connected to him via radio, because that's a game that we've done in the past.
Come back.
But no,
I thought you were going to say actually he realizes by the end that it was the neighbor, and this whole time it hasn't even been Gerald. He's just been misinterpreting all the signals.
What I would love is like the news is like following this whole story of the moon has been really expressive these last 2 nights. We can only imagine what's going to happen tonight, and like shit goes out of control. And
yeah, well, I kind of love that on that first night you see people reacting. They're like, holy shit, like you walk around and people are just up there watching the moon, but no one realizes it's you, because they still like there's still no way you can with a regular human can see with the precision necessary to know who the moon is looking at and pointing at, right? Like, it could be anyone essentially, at this end of the planet. But yeah, by the second night, maybe the scientists have started, locking it in. Or I feel like the scientists every night, like, figure out, like, triangulate it down, figure out pretty much where it is. So the cops or whatever, like, they're always around trying to figure out who it is because they know some shit's going to go down. Or...
So you know how meteorologists deal with the weather? Is it like a lunologist? And it's like they're dealing with lunar activity, and it's like, tonight it appears that the moon may be pointing around the Georgia area. Like,
yeah, exactly, yes.
It's like, so if you want to be the lucky one chosen tonight, then maybe you should get out there and try to make our lunar god happy. It's just different.
Totally. There's all these different belief systems around what the moon wants, because no one's ever properly communicated with it like Gerald
the
is
astrological
tonight.
Charts are all about, and if the moon is in your sign, then
if the moon's looking in 5 degrees in your direction,
if you're in Aries, the moon may look at you tonight.
If only we could be so lucky. I like that. So how does the game play out then? It's across these 3 nights. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking you kind of got a semi-open-ish world, like a neighborhood or something that you're going around. What is the story? What's Gerald trying to do?
Okay, so I think it opens up on Gerald. He's just been in a bar and he gets ejected.
Okay.
So he's basically
having a hard time.
Had a hard time. He's down on his luck. He gets ejected from this bar, and like everyone in the area, like he gets out of the bar and everyone's just looking up. And it's because the moon is pointing in this general vicinity. So they're all trying to, they're moving around trying to see if, the moon is moving even the slightest little bit. And you hear this kid go, "Mummy, I think it's pointing at me."
Yeah, and there's some nerdy mansplainer going like, the angle of the moon change, like you'd never be able to see it just by moving 5 steps to your right, that what everyone actually knows, even though they, try it anyway.
And, up comes a prompt on the screen that says, press F to wave. And, like, you wave at the moon, and the moon waves back.
The moon waves back.
Then, you cover your eyes a little bit, and the moon covers his eyes, and it's like, oh my god. And that's how it sort of opens.
But no one notices, because they just think you're some drunk on the street. They don't notice that the moon's following you, because they're not paying any attention to you.
They're seeing the moon looking at the moon. Oh my god, the moon is like moving and doing all this sort of stuff, and you're literally able to sort of do that. And then,
So you head off down the street, and you see, one of those classic shots of all the TVs in the window as they start reporting on this, unseen moon activity.
Never before have we seen the moon so expressive.
Yeah, and I think you can just often just look up at the moon. I think you can always just look up at the moon and maybe make some gestures, and it'll always just gesture back to sort of confirm. But then, I guess we need to bring some story in. Maybe you get like a phone call from your ex-wife or something, who's, you were supposed to pick up your son
from school,
and from school like hours ago, and she's berating you because she had to get a call from the principal, and essentially this whole story is the moon helping you get your shit together.
But there's also something else that the moon actually needs your help for. So it's sort of like get you done. Get you fixed up in your life, and then you're the only person who can actually help the moon.
Okay, interesting. What does the moon need?
The moon just needs
a friend.
He's lonely.
So you have this real dramatic ending where you finally make up with your son, and your ex-wife respects you again. But it's like, I've got to go, son. The moon's calling me. You get in a rocket.
He's calling me like on my phone right now. See, moon.
Yeah, like literally, it says moon. You can see him up there. He's got a phone up to his head.
He's got a phone up to his head. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, he's waiting for me. Sorry.
Do you want to come?
Yeah. You can offer for the son to come.
And the son goes, "Oh, can I come tomorrow?" No.
No, it's a one-time.
It's a one-time thing. I'm going, and I'm not going to be back. It's like, oh, but I want to see mummy, and it's like, oh, you can stay here then. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah, bye, bye, son. I'm going to hang out with my bud at the moon.
You go up there, and
you're like, NASA, just point me in the general direction. He'll catch me. It's fine.
Yeah, so you go up there, and then basically you see a guy who's literally on the moon, and like, he's got like this huge mech arm sort of thing that he can move around.
Technological.
Like, it's all technological. And he goes,
and they're
thank God you're here. Thank God. Well, I'm thinking, thank God you're here. We need your help to defeat, this incoming threat. And then you see behind the moon, and what you haven't seen the entire time is this huge fleet of ships. But it's just the fact that the moon's light is sort of...
Yeah, you can't... Yes, it's
too bright.
Too bright. So, but wait, what is Gerald Tyler going to do against his fleet of ships? He's got something special?
It turns out that he was the first one to ever actually communicate back with the moon, so the moon's like, oh, I guess you'll do.
I guess you'll do. They've just been trying to get anybody's attention on Earth this whole time. Oh my god. That's funny. That's actually, I feel like that's an after credits scene.
Oh yeah.
That whole thing. It's actually a really nice scene if you're like reaching the moon and you're just like feeling really satisfied, and then from behind a crater after the credits, it's like, hey, and you're just like, what the fuck?
I'm thinking as you're taking off, you like, we paid a lot of money to Pink Floyd, and we just played the whole album of Dark Side of the Moon over the credits.
Over the credits, as you like, it's the whole trip and land, and
as you fly to the moon in like real time. And so in this game, it's like you play the album 13 times or whatever, however long it is to get there. I think it's like 24 hours, 3 days, so it's even worse. So it's like, yeah, it's on loop.
So you only see this scene if you leave the credit loop on for 3 days.
Yep. I mean, money. It's a gas.
It's a gas. All right, 3, 2,
I'm glad that you knew which song I was going for.
Beneficial principle.
Obsessed scientist.
Ooh, that's a fun little relationship. Because I feel like I was going principal of a school.
Well, you do have principal, and like it's not a principal.
Exactly.
So it is. You know, you're the principal is your pal.
But it could be like the principal something, like the. Yes, there are anyway. Yes, but I was thinking principal of a school. Mm-hmm. Is this a scientist who wants to experiment on the kids in the school?
You play a mad scientist.
What was the other word?
Obsessed.
Obsessed, yeah.
And he's obsessed with the idea. Every time that he gets into like one of the staff meetings, he goes, "Can I just have 3 kids?"
Is he the science teacher? Is he the science teacher?
He's the science teacher, but he's also like a mad scientist, and he's trying.
Yeah, he keeps trying to get permission to run these like ridiculous experiments involving the students, because it's like they're the perfect test subject. No, I think maybe they're like psychological experiments.
Okay.
That are just totally going to like fuck these kids up, or maybe he's trying to test some like miracle drug or something.
Yep. It's like, all I want to do is inject 3 students with differing amounts of snake venom and see how they react.
Just observe them over the course of a week, see which of them die. I mean, just send permission slips home. Nobody reads those anyway. They just sign them and we're asses covered.
We just say it's a camp. It's a camp.
It's a
camp
really
snake
long
bite.
Camp.
We can pretend it's like a Wild West camp in the science building in my lab.
Is this more of a? Is that just one aspect of the game, and this is sort of a kind of like a?
You play the principal of this like crazy school, and you've got every single teacher coming to you for different. Like,
well, yeah. So I was thinking, it's
demands
sort of essentially,
and all
what was that game? Was it? I don't think you played it, but was it Yes, Your Highness or something? Yes, Your Grace. Where you play the king, and like part of it is, like your in this game, part of it was your constituents essentially coming to you, and like you had to make decisions, but that would affect things in the wider realm. But then there were wars you'd fight and that sort of thing. But I think it's kind of like that, but it's a school, and you're making decisions based, like your teachers are coming to you and your students are coming to you. But then there are also scenes where it's like you walk around the school and you get some exposition, and there are particular characters around that you can talk to. So it's almost a point and click mixed with this sort of, I guess, sort of Papers, Please, or Yes, Your Grace sort of thing, where you're making these decisions as these people come to you. And so, yes, like one of them is the fucking science teacher who's just constantly trying to experiment on kids. And you can choose. You can be like, fine, have 3 kids, but like choose the dumb ones.
Choose ones that would normally go to science and then muck up in the back of the class, because they're not going to be missed.
Yeah,
the smart ones are.
Yeah, their parents won't notice them gone for at least a couple of days. So if, there are side effects...
But if they do come, I'm avoiding them like landmines, and I'm sending them to you.
Ignoring that. So I think... What else is happening in this school, though? So, like, what does the music teacher want? What is the
music teacher keeps on, like... They're kind of obsessed with, like... necks, and you have an idea that they may be a vampire, but you can't be sure. Like,
they've got those big black curtains that they put across in their their studio.
I mean,
room,
really,
or
that would actually it would make more sense for the photography teacher to be the vampire, because they're always in the dark room.
That's true. Well, maybe there is a bit of a red herring that it becomes very obvious, hey, I'm pretty sure the photography teacher is a vampire, but it's not. It's the music teacher.
Yeah. Or you're pretty sure that is the music teacher and it's actually just the photography teacher. Either way. You can go either way. The woodwork teacher, he's an outlaw. Like...
He's just a full-on cowboy. He just acts like a cowboy.
He acts like a cowboy. There's just something about that idea, about this, this outlaw that has a wisdom that, the kids, like, really gravitate towards. But the entire time in the woodworking class, he's just getting him to make, like, weapons and other things for, like...
Like shivs or...
Well,
what sort of weapons?
I'm thinking, he's planning a heist of a bank or something like that, and he's getting him to like build different things that he can use in his heist.
He's planning a heist of a museum, and he's getting them all to like whittle these different little idols and figures that he's going to use to confuse the guards so that he can nick the real one and leave all these fakes behind of varying quality.
I'm just picturing that every single teacher has like good and bad qualities, but as for what they all are, I mean, obviously you can add new teachers in with expansions and all this sort of stuff, and that's where...
Yeah, well, I think they basically kind of all have their little storylines, but then there are maybe some sort of overall stats where, based on the direction you go in each storyline, the school will become, more unruly or more strict, or like there are certain ways that it'll go where then each storyline kind of plays off of that a bit. You'll see different options based on, you've got a very like well-behaved school, so you're not going to be able to take advantage of the friggin' like kids who blow up things down on the Oval at lunchtime because they aren't in your school. Whereas if you'd made different decisions in previous storylines, then in this storyline you could utilize them as a resource essentially, or as a story path that you can go down for the lunch lady who needed some rabbits blown up down there.
Well, I think that, every 28 days, the lunch lady gets really, really aggressive. And then you realise that it actually falls in phases with the moon, and because your mind went to the other reason why you thought that she would get...
because you're just misogynistic.
Yeah, you're just misogynistic. She's actually a werewolf.
I think she's actually like a
were-rabbit. And that's why she wants to get rid of all the rabbits, because
they're honing in on her territory.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, she makes a mean rabbit stew.
Yeah, it's a little bit cannibalistic on her part, but she does only eat it when she's in human form.
She doesn't eat it. She just gives it to the kids.
To the students, yeah.
She does put a drop of her blood in every now and again, and
there have been a few
were-rabbit.
We have seen
students.
There have been a pack of rather large rabbits being seen running around during the full moon. Some of them wearing the school uniform, but
I'm sure that'll just die down.
We don't have any proof, so.
And ever since the maths teacher just disappeared that time,
yeah, in a bright flash of light with geometric symbols flying through the air, which in some weird fashion, we're pretty sure they either
stepped on a landmine.
Show up. Temporal landmine, did you say?
Yeah, temporal landmine. That's even better.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click. Okay. I like when we get numbers. They give interesting things. 8 threshold.
Draining forecast.
Draining forecast. What could be forecast to drain? Is this like
the ocean is draining and it's forecast to happen in 8 days?
It's going to drain in 8 days. There's just a huge hole has opened in the bottom of the ocean,
and it's
no one knows where it's going.
Well, it's going into the center of the planet, obviously.
Well, but like from a physical point of view, I don't think there's enough. Like, how is there space? I feel like if you added up the area or the volume of all the oceans, and then tried to anyway. it's disappearing into down somewhere. Maybe
it's like someone's pulled a plug and you got this massive whirlpool in the middle of the Atlantic.
But maybe it's like a wormhole. Like, what my point was, maybe it's not literally just like flowing further closer to the center of the Earth. Like, maybe it's somehow being whisked off somewhere else in the galaxy or whatever. Something's opened up down there and it's sucking all the oceans out.
Sucking it good.
And yeah, it's going to take 8 days based on, and we're already like 2 days into it before they figure this out. We've got another 6 days based on how fast the oceans are draining.
Well, the threshold to like the no-go, like basically there's the point of no return is in 8 days and 2 days have already gone. So you got 6 days and after that, like there's nothing that can be done. It's too low now and it's like...
Right, there's like not enough water left.
The majority of the sea life in the world has actually died now. Like basically it's...
Yep. Okay.
And it's at that point where there's now it's really that point of no return in the fact that like a lot of the carbon that we have in, gets trapped in the ocean sort of stuff.
Well, and even just the total amount of water on the planet, right? It's going to affect climate and it's going to
kill everyone because you can't create new water basically. Well, you can by, pressing together a couple of atoms.
Yeah. But we don't have the energy to...
It's that whole Simpsons thing of, hydrogen atoms. 1, 2, 3, 6 of them.
So I think I'm always getting the Dig vibe from this.
Yes. Where
you're part of an underwater team who is heading down there to figure out what the fuck is happening. One of a team of experts. You've got, obviously an oceanologist of some sort. You've got a biologist, like a marine biologist.
I'm picturing that this is a multinational, like, group of people. Like, you've got the best scientists from all over the world. Like, there's one from, Turkey. There's one from Japan. There's one from, like, India. And you just happen to be one of the best damn pilots. I think.
Yeah, like submarine pilot, essentially. Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was. So you're not even really an expert on what's going to be down there. You're sort of just... No. They need someone who can go deep.
The dog's body, basically.
Yeah, who can get them down there and back out safely. And, I mean, I think you've got, like, mechanical engineer... Like, you can maintain the submarine. Like, how to run this thing and how to keep it going.
Yeah.
All right, so... I kind of like you can do a lot of relationship building and exposition on the trip down there. Like maybe you can sort of walk around your sub, like it's a 3D kind of situation. You can walk around your sub, and they've all got their little quarters and
virtual reality.
Oh yeah, okay. This is what
just the idea of sort of this isn't like your typical sub where you're not actually seeing anything. You're doing it all via screens and all this sort of stuff. This is actually one of those subs that have the huge, like, glass frontage, and
you just make it super technologically advanced, where it's like it's got big window-sized screens that essentially become windows, or can display other things on them, or can go completely opaque or whatever, or something like that. But yes, so you get
go completely opaque for when you're getting busy in the cockpit, definitely. You don't want the fishes looking in. That's just weird.
That's just weird, especially all those deep sea,
eels,
gapers. Gapers? I don't think that's it. That's something else. That's something I've seen on on websites that I'm not going to discuss. Yeah, but I think you do. Yeah, you get the opportunity to go around and like build some relationships up and explore the relationships between the people or that are being like. Maybe some of them, they're obviously run in similar circles. So even though they're from all over the world, they are familiar with each other. Maybe there's some rivalries. Maybe there's some people who, do get along really well or whatever. So it's very much one of those kind of more slow burn sci-fi kind of stories. Mm-hmm. A bit like, What was that one where there was like the huge bubble under the water? So similar to that. Is it just called Sphere or something?
Oh,
Dustin Hoffman, I think.
yeah, Sphere. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a Michael Crichton film. A story by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Then you had The Abyss. That was sort of set down there as well.
Of course, yeah.
I really like The Abyss. That is actually one of my favourite James Cameron films, of which there aren't that many, but I rate that one really quite high.
I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through.
The whole idea of that like liquid
the water creature,
oxygen,
yeah.
Like,
oh right, is that what it was? Yeah,
yeah. It's kind of a bit fucked up, and what's his name had to go through, Ed. Oh shit!
Harris?
I forgot his name. Yeah, Ed Harris. What he had to actually go through, like when they dragged him across, like during this end scene where they literally filled up his entire helmet and said, "Make it look like you're breathing," and they slowly dragged him across the screen, and he was basically like nearly passing out and drowning
Jesus.
in this stuff.
That's wild. But yeah, I think just sort of that, like, it's kind of this slow burn sci-fi thing where as you talk about it, you're like, they're all speculating, like, what could this be? Like, it could be this, it could be that, you know, it could be aliens, it could be...
Some great talks around the dinner table. So, sort of like every day
like
they sort
the
of...
mess hall.
They come together and... You know, it's sort of like everyone eats together and, you know, talks about what they discovered for the day and, like...
Yeah, because they're all doing all sorts of, you know, readings of current and things that have changed, or like the as we get closer, like the sea life is altering in different ways. And then, yeah, eventually you get close enough where you can start, like, getting readings and getting visuals on it and stuff. And, yeah, I think it is some weird, like... I don't know if it's some alien device or a worm, like a wormhole.
I do like the idea of a wormhole and the fact that at the end of the second act, your submarine gets pulled inside the wormhole and you end up on the other.
Is it
another
like
planet or something like that?
Is it aliens who have identified your planet? They need water and they're just like siphoning it off, essentially.
Yeah, basically they didn't realize that there was intelligent
that there was
life.
even life on there. Yeah, this is just because
the last time that they came and checked, there wasn't any intelligent life. There was only like dinosaurs and shit because it was 65 million years ago that their probe was from.
Yeah. So they're like, we can bolster our water supply from there, drain their oceans, and then and again, sort of like the last act of The Dig, where you come across the aliens or whatever, like now it's like, oh shit, like we're actually contacting alien beings. And yeah, I think you have some shit going down between the people on the ship with disagreements on what to do with it. Like one of them's really gung-ho and just wants to like fucking destroy them without listening to them and get back to the wormhole to get back to Earth before before the fucking bomb they've left goes off or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then others are wanting to be diplomatic and help them. And one of them wants to stay and live here with them because it's just too fascinating and they don't want to go home.
A la Cocoon.
Yeah. So just like... one of those, you know. In VR.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about sitting around the dinner table in VR that could be quite... interesting in the fact that you can look at the people as they're talking and, you know, I think it's one of those things that as you look at someone, you know, the ears sort of focus into that person. So there may be a few conversations going around, but just by looking at someone, you can sort of hone into their conversation.
Well, it would be really interesting even just to have some, like, branching or, like, alternate conversations around the table, but it's not based on you necessarily making, like, dialogue choices. It's just like, oh, I'm listening over here, so this conversation kind of goes off into something meaningless and dies off, and this one is, you know, the one that's interesting to the story. But if you'd listened over here, that one would have like segued into the interesting stuff where this one wouldn't. Like it's kind of that sort of thing. I don't know how you do it with the ability to like flick back and forth. Whether that would really fuck things up, but
at one stage, you're focusing in on this conversation, you flick back over and it's like, so what is it? Potato or potato?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you just totally have these little, like, meaningless conversations that are in there to try to guide the player back to what the actual story-based one is supposed to be. No, I think I like that a lot around the dinner table. I think with some really good writing and some nice animation, like, you could have the player kind of really start to connect to these people a bit and understand the relationships there. And like, I'm picturing like a scene from Firefly or something, right, where they're all bantering around the table and there's a bit of comedy and there's a bit of humor and you can really see the relationships that are happening.
But the idea that it's not just one conversation happening, which if you've been at a table ever, that it's not just one conversation. There's like 5 different conversations going on, and you can be part of whichever conversation you want to be.
That's cool. And I mean, I think, obviously you'd have points then where like, the conversation you're listening to gets to a point where everyone gets involved because it's like essentially a scripted story scene or whatever, and that cuts off the other conversations and that sort of thing. But yes, like, otherwise you just have this other stuff going and you do fade it down. So you could almost just have repeating or just like back in the background for those other conversations.
Asparagus, albatross.
Exactly. But
rhubarb.
At least you didn't say landmine. But just to give you that feeling of being around the dinner table and that sort of thing. And then, seeing their reactions when you finally like see this wormhole and I like that.
You try to interject with like some science words that you've heard, and everyone just looks at you, and then they look at you just awkwardly for like 20 seconds, and then they just go back to talking about what they were talking about.
I do like having little moments like that, and you can do it a couple of times, but like they look at you for a shorter amount of time the next time, and then the third time they just completely ignore you.
Just go swim, boy. Okay, let's just quickly go one more.
Yeah, okay, we've got time for one more. We'll see if we keep it short or if it extends this episode by 20 minutes. Perfect stopping.
Constraining rectangle.
Oh. Is this a parking game?
Okay, so we're going to quickly jump over to a movie.
All right. You didn't want to do a game about parking?
No.
Too many of those stupid little mobile games where you can like park a car. Detroit Rock City, 1999.
Okay. The Resort. REZORT. Can you guess what that's about?
No.
The Resort, a post-apocalyptic safari, offers paying guests the opportunity to kill zombies in the wake of an outbreak.
I mean, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch this film. I've never heard of it before.
When's it from?
2016.
It's probably trash.
Yeah, probably.
I like the idea. I like that idea. That puts a fun little spin on a zombie killing game.
Yeah. And it means that you can come in as someone who knows nothing about guns, and you're sort of like clumsy with them and all this sort of stuff.
Well, and you can also really then play into the meta joke of it's like a video game. Like it's like, I'm paying to go to the resort. Like I'm gonna kill some zombies. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, they're actual fucking zombies that they essentially breed there somehow. How do they get how do they keep getting fresh zombies at this place? Is that what you end up
hobos
discovering?
From the local island that they just bring on and just get them bitten and...
Yeah, I guess what's the game? Like, I feel like there's got to
be... you get into the back end and you find out that they've been going to orphanages and getting all these kids and like...
Turns out when a child gets zombified, they grow up really quickly into a full-size zombie. It's just sort of part of the virus.
It's just more economical that way. They can basically get them for free.
Yeah, they basically just steal babies and then throw them to the zombies. And then they get more zombies. Or maybe it turns out that if you rip an arm off a zombie, it grows another zombie from that arm. They're kind of they've like spliced gecko DNA into the zombies. So when they have too many dying, like they just cut them up into 100 pieces and get 100 new zombies.
Okay, so I like the idea of this is the resort. You get offered to pay. You go into these little vignettes of, you're walking through an old west town and zombies come out, and it's like this is just one of the things. Oh,
there's like different sections, like themed things,
yeah.
Is this affordable, or is this one of these like the rich people go off to the exotic hunting, illegal hunting things?
Okay,
that sort of vibe.
So this is how I picture the game opening.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a Wild West, and you push open the doors, and they sort of, and you move into the center, and you've got your hand by your side. Mm-hmm. And then a zombie comes struggling out onto the street, and the cinematic is you pulling out the gun and shooting
the classic
and the
Wild West
sort of
revolver,
blow out and all that sort of stuff. And then this guy in these really gaudish costumes sort of comes up and goes, "Well, thank you, mister," and it's sort of like it's really, really like hammed up
over the top, And
then you find out at that point that it's not actually really a Wild West sort of thing. It is literally fake. You walk out and you see like the saloon is literally just a flat,
a backdrop
sort of thing,
like
it's
with
got
the propped up. It's just a facade,
And then it goes 3 weeks earlier, and it's like your character is winning a radio competition to go to this resort.
Right, so it's something that the world knows about but is like super expensive or something.
Yeah, and it's like this elite thing of it's called the resort, and everyone wants to go there because there are things there that
well, that's what I was going to say. Is it known what's there, or it's a mystery at that point?
I like the idea that it's a new thing at the time. Okay. And this is like the opening weekend, and you're one of the first people who gets to enjoy it, other than the super rich people that have already come through.
Okay.
Of course, in typical, you got to go with the tropes of, like, the zombies break out of containment.
It's essentially Jurassic Park with zombies, right?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, you do find out that, I think some of the things that we said before with where they're getting their zombies is, like, it's really not sustainable. Like, they realise that, the zombies have to come from somewhere, and if people are literally going to be killing them, you got to replenish the zombies somehow. And it's sort of like a darker plot of... So
is it... Okay, so, and there's a few ways we could go there. It could be, like, kidnapping people and bringing them there. Or is there something about, like, when you go there, you have to, like, give a blood sample or something, and they are, like, fast cloning you. And so you start seeing zombie versions of yourself if you stick around long enough,
that is kind of horrible. No, but a good horrible.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that you finally you sort of bring down this whole place, and you head back home, and then you think you're falling asleep and all this sort of stuff, and the credits start rolling, and if you make it through the credits, you wake up and you're in a laboratory. And you're sort of strapped to a desk, and a scientist that you saw earlier in the thing said, "Just hold still. This isn't going to hurt." And he injects, and you see your eye just like go bloodshot, and like you turn into a zombie. Basically, you've now been brought back to the island
for them,
and you're now one of the people that's about to be killed.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you thought that you actually destroyed this whole island, but this is like Site B.
Yeah, just to go full Jurassic Park with it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, totally. They've got a Site B. This is maybe it's so maybe it is that you discover that they were like kidnapping people. I think the zombies can take a few hits, like essentially until their entire brain matter is gone. they'll stay down for a while. So you like the guests think they've killed the zombies with a headshot because that will like disrupt their nervous system long enough and they'll stay down. But they get gathered up later and like they can go for at least another like 10, 15 runs.
It's like a chicken. You cut its head off and, it'll run around for a little while.
Yeah, so they were replenishing it, but as this place got more and more popular, they were having to take more people. It wasn't sustainable, and that's sort of where you came in and you were, I don't know, you figured it out. But then, the Site B is like, now they're experimenting with like cloning and stuff, and you're their test subject. And that's for the sequel.
Well, the thing is, because you can have it as such a sci-fi sort of thing, you may not even be seeing your actual character dying. This could be a clone of your character being turned into a zombie right now, and you've linked via some sort of weird brainwave. If it was like some sort of direct copying mechanism, it's the whole like, are you the clone or are you the original? Like, there's no discrepancy. There's no way that you could actually tell the difference because you've got all your memories from before and after.
Exactly. There's a continuity of consciousness, essentially. That's fun. So is this just like in between all this and FPS or something? Like just lots of zombie shooting?
Yep. The zombie shooting, you can set landmines, you can do all the things that you expect to be able to do in a zombie game. But there's a really cool Jurassic Park-esque story happening behind. That's cool. with some fun discoveries as you go around and I'm thinking like a G-Man sort of scientist. The Half-Life G-Man.
Well, and also
sort of
you've got the full on evil CEO of this whole thing, who's just like shameless about the fact that they, the people they took to become the zombies, like nobody cared, like they were on the streets, nobody wanted them anyway, like just completely unethical and immoral, and you get to probably kill him. But it's the
when
scientist
he gets zombified because he's
zombified. Yeah,
he's in his office and he's locked the door and he's like from behind.
Yeah, but then of course it does turn out to be the scientist who you thought was on your side. But all it was is that they were against kidnapping. They weren't against experimenting with zombies. They love that idea and it's making them tons of money.
In fact, they've just made a new vaccine. Zombie away.
It's the precursor to Dead Rising. That's what it was, wasn't it? Oh no, it's called something different in Dead Rising. Zombrex, yeah.
I'm like, no.
Try Zombrex today.
Not going to say Zombrex, I'm going to say Zombie away.
Zombaway, a zombaway, a zombaway.
I think that's about all the time we've got for tonight's Landmine edition.
If you want to landmine us on the landmine. Oh, fuck, you've rubbed off on me. If you want to find us online, check out all our previous episodes. Go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you thought. More landmines, less landmines. You let us know.
We'd also like to thank Kuradust for allowing us the use of the song Mountafines of the Containment Failure.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm the Moon. And I'm watching you.